Hey guys, this is Hunter from GIT Longboarding, and I'm going to do a video over all the different kinds of decks that there are and their pros and cons, and just the different styles and different unique sorts of boards there are. So the first one I'm going to go over is a drop deck. This is a Longboard Switch 37, or a Spud. From the 2011 behind it was called the Spud. As you can see, the basic idea of a drop deck board is that your platform is lowered so that you have pockets for your feet, but you still retain leverage over your trucks to give you the control, versus like if you had a drop through where your board is under the trucks, or rather in the trucks, if that makes any sense. The pros of this is that you have a inherently more stable board because it is lower. You have the pockets for your feet for sliding or tucking, and they are also much easier to push because of how low they are to the ground. You have less of a reach for your foot when pushing. The cons would be that because of this lowness, even though it is more, you have more leverage than a drop through, it feels sort of like a hammock while you're riding, and it's not as controllable as something like a top mount or a normal drop through. But it can be kind of confusing, but that's basically how it works. We'll move on to another drop board. This here is this is a Rain Amazon, which is also a drop platform. However, this is called a micro drop. You have a 5/8 drop versus a 1-inch drop on the Longboard's Switch 37 here. This very small drop gives you the sort of feel of a top mount and the feel of a drop deck. You still have the pockets for your feet. However, because the drop is not so extreme, you retain much more leverage over your trucks. This gives you more control through your slide and more grip through your turns and things like that. This is actually dropped through at the moment with Surf Rod's 177mm Indies. These are an extremely low truck, and this board is actually my brother's. He generally uses it for pushing, which is why it is so low. You could top mount this board rather than drop it through, as it does have that option, and have even more leverage over your trucks. Now, the pros of this is that obviously you do retain that leverage and you retain that control through your slide. However, the cons is that it is a drop through, which kind of structurally weakens the board. If the nose or tail of your board as a drop through takes a hard hit, it can crack right here, and it can almost take apart this whole entire end here, which can seriously weaken the structural integrity of your board. That's really the only con to them, in my opinion. I absolutely love micro drops for almost everything. Here we have a short wheelbase double kick free ride board. This is a Warehouse 107 in Torquio. I have it on bare 852s, and this board, as you can see, it's a 40-inch board with double kicks, kind of similar to a Dancer, but not, because it's not so long. It has your general radial concave, and is great for things like free ride. Now, the difference between this and the Amazon or the Switch 37 is that this is a top mount board where the trucks sit directly under the platform. It's not dropped through, the platform is not dropped, it's just a solid plank with your trucks under it. Now, the cons to a normal top mount are that they are inherently less stable than either of the options of a dropped board because they are taller. The lower you are to the ground, the more stable you are, the higher, the less. Now, top mounts generally are kind of used by people who have been skating for quite a while and are experienced, because they are a bit harder to ride. They have more grip through turns, However, this grip can also be a bad thing for things like free ride if you're into slow speed stuff. However, it can also be a good thing because if you're a high-speed free rider like me and most of my friends, a top mount has an extremely good control through the slide. You feel the slide, you feel the road underneath your feet. And what this does is it helps you extremely well whenever you're going through the slide. You know where you are, you know where your board is sliding and where it's going to be. That's the general pros of a top mount. This is a short wheelbase. It's 26 inches, which is actually a fairly common wheelbase for a short wheelbase board. However, you don't generally see a short wheelbase double kick. This is actually a custom Warehouse 107 in Torquio. Now, if we move over here, we have an Arbor Vugenhausen, which is also a top mount. This is a symmetrical top mount, just like the double kick in Torquio here. However, this is a long wheelbase top mount with a wheelbase of 29.5 inches. They have the exact same, pros and cons because they are both top mounts. However, in Torquio's 26-inch wheelbase makes it extremely agile because of the short wheelbase. You just have more turn and it's quicker. This is generally a bit slower. The shorter your wheelbase, actually, the faster your rotations can be through 180s and 360s and things like that. Because of the longer wheelbase, this is also actually, I think it's more of my opinion, but I feel like the longer your wheelbase, the more stable you feel on a top mount. I don't feel near as stable riding this as I do my Vugenhausen. I really, really like the longer wheelbases versus the shorter ones, although the shorter ones can still be extremely fun. And the last board we have here, we have a directional top mount speed board. Like I said, all of these two that we've done are top mounts. This is also a top mount. Now the only difference here is that this top mount is asymmetrical. As you can see, it has the two rails here, and then it flares out here at the back, which is sort of like it's almost like a waist, sort of like the Vugenhausen has or the Amazon has, where it dips down and then comes back out. However, this is not a symmetrical board, as you can see. Now what this does is it gives you a general direction in which you should ride. This doesn't alter your riding on the board, though. You can still ride it either way, through 180s and switch 180s and things like that. But it just gives you a better, I guess, sort of like a reference point. Your board is just meant to go this direction. This is actually a good in-between for wheelbase options. This is a 27, which is right in between the 26 of the Torquio and the 29.5 of the Arbor Vugenhausen. This is a Warehouse 107, I forget what it's called. A Warehouse 107 Primus custom board. Pretty nice. I actually built this one. Warehouse 107 is are the boards that I make. Now, the pros and cons are exactly the same as the other two, the Vugenhausen and the Torquio. However, with this 27-inch wheelbase, you still retain that stability that you feel when riding a Vugenhausen, but you still have the snappiness and the agileness as the 26-inch wheelbase on the Torquio. This is a very good option for those who are maybe on the fence of a long wheelbase on a top mount and a short wheelbase. However, if one of your boards has a shorter or longer wheelbase than you like, you can always re-drill it. You always have that option. It's very simple to do. You just attach your base plate to the back bolt holes and drill extra holes with a drill bit. It's extremely simple. I've done it before. But that's really it concerning different sorts of boards. So just to go over it again, we have the drop deck, the micro drop, the top mount. Hey there guys, sorry for the screw up. My camera has a 10-minute recording limit and I went over the 10 minutes on the video. It cut off a little bit odd at the end and I didn't want to leave it all strange like that. So I hope you enjoyed the board clinic explanation. I hope this helps you deciding on what kind of board you should buy. If you're looking into a first board, or you're just looking for a next board, or maybe you're confused about, you know, the pros and cons of a top mount versus a micro drop versus a drop versus a drop through. I guess that's really it. Rate, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.